Today I'm going to share with you 4 ways to win the betrayed spouse's heart. Now, this is not going to be exhaustive. We're not going to spend 30 minutes talking about this, but I wanted to put these 4 key factors out there, mostly for the unfaithful, to help them understand what many of you betrayed spouses are looking for. I wanted to call this, 4 needs of the betrayed spouse. I wanted to call it 4 constructs of recovery. I mean, there's so many different ways that I thought about saying it, but I'm just going to put it out there very simply. 4 ways that you, as an unfaithful, can win the betrayed spouse's heart. Because ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to win back the betrayed spouse's heart. We're trying to win back their trust, their love, their support, all of those things. We could talk for hours about it. But I really want to try and give you a glimpse into what the betrayed spouse wants from you unfaithfuls, so that you can kind of hammer in on these 4 constructs, if you will. If nothing else, maybe it will give you some dialogue starters that you can have with your betrayed spouse to say, how am I doing on these 4 principles? What can I do better? What's lacking? What am I doing right? How can I just get better? Now, before I give you the 4 ways, it's important to understand I don't have the luxury of qualifying everything that I'm going to say. These videos would be so incredibly long, I would lose you. I'm just going to hammer away at 4 points. I know that there's, well, what about, well, they, and they won't, and this. I get it, but we're going to stay very streamlined today and really focus on 4 gateways, if you will, 4 streams into the betrayed spouse's heart, especially early on in recovery. Number 1 is having a posture or a mentality of openness, living in an open way. I see so many unfaithfuls make the mistake that early on they're just not open. They're not open with their feelings. They're not open with information. They're not open with concerns. They're not open with what recovery work they're doing. They're not open with details about what did or did not happen. If you can't be open with your spouse or partner, you're going to experience roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. I know I hear you, Samuel, I'm open and then I get slammed or shamed or attacked. I get it, but you have to understand the alternative is even worse. If you don't commit to being open, you'll never get further and further into their heart. And your goal is not just to make them happy and not just to get them to stop talking about it. Your goal is to get into their heart, connect with them, love them well, love them deeply, and repair the damage that your choices have caused. You'll never get there without living an open lifestyle, an open heart, an open mind, an open approach to the struggles that they are having. Number 2 is living transparently. Now, the definition gets a little bit quirky, but living in a transparent way just is, there's no secrets, there's no hidden agendas. You're not trying to manipulate them in a way towards maybe not divorcing, not separating. You're just trying to win their heart. You're willing to answer any question that you need to answer. You don't have an agenda where you're trying to box them in and do all that stuff that so many unfaithful spouses do. If you can live in a transparent way about your heart, about your fears, about maybe some abuse when you were young, or some addiction that you've faced and maybe never told them about. Maybe it's time that you're transparent about some things that happened to you when you were young. Maybe it's time to be transparent about wounds that you have. Maybe it's time to be transparent about the details of the infidelity. But if you can't be open and if you can't live transparently, and I'm talking about even in the future, I live a transparent life with Samantha now. It's not perfect, but it is so much more transparent than it's ever been. And that requires trust on my part with Samantha to hold it very graciously, very carefully. It wasn't too long ago I had to share with her some insight that I gained from some childhood trauma. I had to walk her through a couple of abusive situations that I went through that, man, it was scary. It was absolutely intimidating to share this with her for fear that maybe at the wrong time, if she were to get angry or if she were to lash out, that she would, say something like that. But we got through it. Yes, it was quite a long time ago, but it's still very fresh, that moment. And that moment was a connection between she and I that was absolutely life-changing, but also marriage-changing. I would invite you to slowly but surely be transparent with your significant other, because if you can't be, you're going to remain disconnected. I'm going to lump this into transparency, but for me, I had to say what I mean and mean what I say. I had to do what I said I was going to do. If I was going to check the mail, I needed to check the mail. If I was going to pay a bill, I needed to pay that bill. That's kind of more along the lines of, meet your commitments, but let's just call it transparency, because there were lots of times that I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I forgot, I got busy, I paid the wrong bill, and Samantha got pretty fired up. Now, this is quite some time ago. And then there's the moment of, do I lie or do I tell her the truth? Because if I lie, things are going to go easier. If I tell her the truth, she's going to be angry, she's going to get triggered, she's going to get mad. And I would say 95% of the time I told the truth and took the pain. There were a couple times I lied and had to talk about it later, and then it just so happened that she found out the truth, and that was very painful. But about 95% of the time I told her the truth because I wanted to live transparently with her to win her heart back. And then she went on to tell me later that when I actually was honest about failing to do X, Y, or Z, that it actually rebuilt trust with her, because I had the gall, the confidence, the security to be honest and then take the heat for not doing what I was supposed to do. Number 3, and this is a pretty easy one. I'm sure all the betrayed spouses will be like, exactly, brother, preach that. And that is, if you want to win the betrayed spouse's heart back, you've got to live in a non-defensive way. If you're going to get defensive about anything, you're driving, the way you communicate, physical intimacy, the details of your affair, or the details of your addiction, or how long your addiction has been going on, or all of those things, if you are going to be defensive at all, you're not going to win back their heart. In fact, you're going to push their heart further and further away from you. I would get defensive about my driving. I'd get defensive, or maybe call it insecure, about maybe some of the clothes I wore, or what have you. As long as I did that, it caused Samantha to not feel safe. It caused her to turn inward, not turn outward and share her heart. Because when we get defensive, we're blaming, we're accusing, we're putting it back on our betrayed spouse rather than just owning it. And I can hear you, unfaithful. So am I just supposed to take it? I would invite you to be a man or be a woman and take some heat, all in an attempt to win back your spouse's heart. Physical violence? Absolutely not. I'm not at any level suggesting that you tolerate any type of domestic violence. I am saying that if you have to take some anger, if you have to hear some bad names, if you have to suffer through some seasons or some nights of difficult language because of their hurt and their pain because of your choices, then so be it, because as long as you're defensive, you're not winning their heart. You see, defensiveness is our issue, not their issue. Sure, they may be lashing out. They may be angry. They may be being unfair. They may be being unkind. But when we get defensive, we are proving to them that we have issues because we're not confident enough, secure enough to be able to say, well, I'm sorry for what I've done. I know that I have hurt you, and I just want to heal. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I know my affair was X amount of time, or I acted out this many times, and I'm sorry. I don't have any other answers other than I'm sorry, and I'll do whatever it takes to heal. As long as we say, you know what, well, if you'd have done this, if you weren't this way, if you weren't that way, well, what about your stuff? Their heart puts on an Olympic track outfit and runs away from us with lightning quick speed. Finally, number 4 is a posture of kindness. If you can't be kind with your betrayed spouse, you're going to lose a chamber of their heart that, trust me, you want. I can just tell you, and if Samantha was here next to me, prior to me getting into some real good recovery and repair work, the EMS weekend and meeting with Rick Reynolds, kindness to me was really not very common at all. In fact, Samantha had a special word for me when I was the man and on a plane every week and so successful. It started with an A and ended with an E. You can do the math there. The fact is, kindness was not something that came easy. I've had to learn how to be kind. I mean, if you come from faith, kindness is a fruit of the Spirit. If you don't come from faith, kindness is a gateway into anybody's heart. If we can be kind and really mean it, I assure you, your betrayed spouse's heart gets closer and closer. Kindness reveals that we have an awareness for what our choices have done to our significant other. Kindness says we understand that people are hurting, that people are going through incredible amounts of pain and sorrow. Kindness speaks to the fact that we understand what it's like to grieve, that we understand what it's like to experience sorrow. Kindness shows a posture of heart that says, I'm no better than you. I just want to help you. I just want to suffer with you. I want to meet you in your pain, not judge you, not shame you, not rush you, not hurry you. Connect with you. Kindness has a language. Kindness has a volume. Kindness has a posture. Kindness has a vocabulary. And I assure you, if you're not someone that is a kind person or that kindness comes natural to you, you can absolutely learn. If this bear of a person, baseball coach, rugged, rough, tough, all of that, if I can learn how to be kind, I assure you, it is more than possible for you to learn kindness. No, I didn't go to a 12-week course about it. No, I didn't, go through this big study, but I did my repair work. I confronted myself. I did study it. I studied it from a faith perspective. I studied it from an agnostic or atheist perspective as well. Understanding that kindness is a mutual respect for another human being that has dignity and value. If you want your betrayed spouse's heart, if you want to go to the chambers of their heart you've never touched before or haven't been to in decades or years or months, I assure you, you will need kindness.